Daalụ nne na ụmụnne m ka unu si wee na-esoro anyị n'ụbọchị nke taa na Eastern News 24. Anyị si ụtụtụ ọma, ife ọma, mgbede ọma site na ngalaba ebe isi wee na-esoro anyị n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa na Eastern News 24. Anyị si na Chukwuka abịa ma ya agọzi gị na ya dịra n'Igbo na mma ise na anyị ya dịka echi na-eche ada agwụ agwụ ise otu anyị kwuru otu akọ ya dịrịrị ise. Alright, anyị agbapụ na osi gosi unu ya bụ ife ji maka ya wee bịa n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa. Ihe a bụ nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Kenneth Okonkwo. Gee ntị ka ihe o were ikwu, gee ntị nke ikpeazụ a ịnidiri ige ya, ị ga-esi ya bụ ife nwanne nwoke bụ Kenneth Okonkwo kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka 1 end bad governance, 2 bụ maka situation of the country, gbasịta maka ihe na-eme n'obodo. Ọkọtago unu ga-esi ya bụ ife unu adrọpụla anyị ihe unu chere n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ihe a Kenneth Okonkwo kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụdị nke ya. Alright, over to you, sir.
A peaceful protest all over the world. Yeah, but it started as a peaceful protest, then the criminal element behind coming to hijack it. There were several peaceful protests in different parts of the world. What you're saying is that chances are that when people protest, you always have a few elements who will either obstruct traffic, but to the extent of looting and vandalizing property, not always the case across the world. That's why we said no to protest at the initial stage. You have a cage in new agitations that you want to end bad governance. It is the right of all Nigerians to protest and to tell the president what they want. But I felt it would be unfair to the president since he came on board that he has not been trying his best to deliver on the mandate given to him by Nigerians. Protests have never been the best way to address issues in Nigeria. We can see how the NSAS protest started. People entered it, a lot of criminals start shooting and start killing. So we felt protests can never, and it has been never. Look at today. When we say our faith are being in play now, when we say no to protest, we know what will eventually follow. Have you heard what people say about the president's speech? How some thought that it appeared surprising, shocking to people. They thought it was out of touch. He didn't address the main concerns that the protesters wanted him to address. The main concern of the protesters is for Mr. President to bring back subsidy, because they felt there is hunger in the country. Whereas the subsidy has not been helpful. Subsidy is essential and very necessary, because by subsidizing a lot of things, you see an ordinary man can get. But look at it today. Petroleum is sold as high as 1,000 naira today. So there's inflation in food prices. There's inflation in 1,000 naira. Which inflation that you sell at that market, you see 1,000 naira. The only place you see them selling fuel is the NNPC and government control price filling stations. Despite the president of the Mr. President, the marketers have been blamed as well. I mean, there are several dynamics to this. Yes, the protest rang out. Then the president addressed the country. And then more reaction concerning, wait a minute, this is not what we're talking about here. Would you rather speak or not? But if it's this way, with a big question marks, what do you think of all of this? Well, I want to first of all thank my colleague here. He is actually doing the job for me. I would have loved to listen to him. First of all, Shehu Sani at the presidential villa told President Tinubu, you are the father of protests. If going by his submission, there has never been any peaceful protest. He is actually saying that President Tinubu has never been any peaceful man. By his own submission, not mine. Although I respectfully disagree with him, because I know that they unleashed the greatest protest against this country. And in all conscience, I would not say that they were extremely violent when they protested against Goodluck Jonathan because of the 20 naira increase in fuel. Today they say purportedly that they have removed fuel subsidy that landed the price of fuel from 195 naira to, according to him again, 1,000 naira in black market. No, even in real market. In Lagos, 1,200 naira. And the funny thing is that it's not even available. People have to spend hours in the filling station to pay 900 naira and it's not even available. What a government. Now, the people are protesting for hunger and hardship, for deprivation, for degradation. And the president was compelled to speak. I wish they did not compel him. Because if I were a media aide, I would have preferred there was no speech at all. Because a bad speech is worse than no speech at all. What was wrong with that speech for you? First and foremost, it was contradictory, it was inflammatory, it was annoying, it was disheartening. I'll give you an example. Paragraph 2 of that speech. He was recognizing that it is the children that are desiring for a better nation that are protesting. In paragraph 5, he's already saying that it is by some politicians that have clear political agenda. What a contradiction. In paragraph 6, the president said, in his own words, for people who want to take undue advantage of this situation to threaten a section of the country, be warned, the law will catch up with you. There is no place for ethnic bigotry in Nigeria we seek to build. This same president is harboring as a media aide a man who, after 2023, said Igbos are aliens in Yoruba land. He said Igbos should never interfere with the police of Lagos State. Now 2023 should be the last time that the Igbos should interfere in the police of Lagos State. And in 2027 it should not repeat itself again. It was on his Twitter space, and I'm talking about Bayo Onanuga. If the president is sincere in what he said in paragraph 6 of his speech, the first thing he would have done is to sack Bayo Onanuga. And in addition to the speech being empty and very annoying, it was even leaked before the day. And when we were getting caricature of the president when he was talking, they were reading with him and really reading ahead of his own speech. And he has such level of incompetence in the media aid, and he did not take them out. And give another example. For now we have 48 ministers going to 49. These children, what are they asking for? They are simply saying, sir, this fuel subsidy removal, this depreciation of naira, this electricity tariff, they are unsustainable, and I agree with them.
So is it to say that the fact that he even spoke and decided to at least try and address the concerns of Nigerians counts for nothing because you think that the speech is not good enough?
No! It is because, I'm sorry to say this, because I don't have better way to express it. I don't even know whether he understands or he understood what he said. Because he said this is the broadcast by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces on nationwide protest. Then what is it about the nationwide protest that he addressed? Was telling us he gave 570 billion naira to governors. And the first time he started dishing out these billions to governors was when they had cases in tribunal. And you know what happens to those billions.
So, Dr. Kuso, I mean, I'm sure that it's not the first time you'll be hearing reactions to the president's speech. So within the party, is it that they're all on the same page saying, look, irrespective of what people think, the party still thinks, as you for instance now, since you're here with us, that the speech for you is still good enough?
To me, the speech is good enough. Because if you look at the majority of those agitating for bad governance are youths. So you have to address them to tell them his plans for them and what he has done to them so far. Majority of the youths used in this protest are uninformed youths. Why do I say they are uninformed? If the president has given enough funds to the state government, to the state governors, it is expected that the governors will also empower the local government chairman. That's why you have 3 tiers of government. The grassroots are the ones feeling the hits of this hardship. You are saying.
But now that we have that Supreme Court decision about the local governments, they're not supposed to interfere with the local governments. So that's...
Has it been implemented yet?
Mr. Kuso,
They've given time.
we use the phrase here today.
Yeah.
You said you that were used. What do you mean by that?
They are the ones protesting. You say underage youths.
Yes, used by who?
Used by the people that organize the protest. This is a faceless protest leaders. You don't know who are the leaders.
Did you see actual, we understand the looting and we saw a lot of hoodlums and things like that happening, but did you see regular Nigerians protesting as well?
Most of these people, you see, they are not Nigerians.
Listen, you can't say that.
They are not Nigerians.
Listen, did you see in any way from day one, did you see actual Nigerians protesting?
Most of they are youths. And most of them, as I said, they are not Nigerians. A good level arrived in Nigeria will not destroy the nation.
That's the trick I keep hearing a lot of people make. You try to lump actual protesters with looters. That's not the case, is it?
The first day you saw,
are there people who are genuine protesters and then they are looters? Can you acknowledge that at least?
Initially, we thought they were genuine protesters. But we need to act now the criminal element to take over, and that's what's happening.
So doesn't that help their meeting? Doesn't that imagine? We've seen all of that.
Imagine in Kano State, the NCC all built for the youths to train them to have fun has been destroyed. Which of the good lovely citizens will destroy things like that?
Some people who
see anyone sitting on top of a traffic light breaking it for what?
Some people who criticize this train of thought that you're going with state categorically, and I want you to answer this, that the idea that a protest can be hijacked doesn't mean that people should not protest. It sounds lazy on the part of government if they keep saying because looters can come and hijack a protest, people shouldn't come out to protest. Do you think that maybe some evolving has to happen in the way protests are managed in Nigeria so that people can exercise their right to protest and then the looters and hoodlums will not be allowed to hijack it? Do you think this is something government can do?
It can happen. And that's why I'm saying when they have leaders, the leaders should come up. If you listen to Mr. President's speech, he says it's open for dialogue. So the best way to get it done is through dialogue. The leaders will have seen from Mr. President's attention to sit down and tell him, okay, this is what we want. If you want cutting governors, okay, address what, bring down your agitations. You need to sit down to Mr. President and address the protest because we need the aftermath of the protest, and that is what's happening today. Look at it yesterday. Protesters telling on holding Russian flags. What does that have to do with bad governance protest?
You said they're not Nigerians. Who are they?
They are boys from the neighboring countries. They are coming in. Look at it in Nigeria. People at the age of between 18 to 30 are the majority. You get? And we have a system, which I must say this clearly, our immigration system is very flawed. Our own borders are very porous that anybody can come in. So the amount of people we have in the country is, most of them are foreigners coming from Niger, from Chad, just to have a livelihood. It is the duty of immigration to have the real numbers and data of those foreigners. So if you look at them, most of them are Nigerians. I want to be able to get Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo to speak on this because it does seem like there's a gap in understanding as to what has happened and what should have happened. One of the things that many people complained about with the president's speech was that he didn't talk about the cost of governance at all throughout the speech. If you had his ear, what would you have asked him? Because that cost of governance goes to some of the short-term demands of all Nigerians. If you had his ear, what would you have told him to say about the cost of governance in that speech? If I had his ear, I would first of all tell Mr. President that he should recognize that the power of the people is superior to the people in power, and that he should show respect to Nigerians. I would have told him, what case do you think you will make for hunger and hardship when you have 48 ministers? Bogus, when you could have had only 37, according to the Constitution. I would tell Mr. President, why would you have to spend 21 billion naira on the house of your vice president? Mr. President, why
not give billions to your wife when she has even said in front of a church that we don't need it because we are already blessed with money? Mr. President, why give 6 billion naira to National Assembly to build car park when you are giving loan to students? Why don't you give grants to the students? Mr. President, you have the greatest number of out-of-school children in the north. They are going to be a problem to you. I am really surprised that my colleague here is talking about the porous border for a president that has the largest bureaucracy, who could not even police our border. You see, his statement is as contradictory and as confusing as the speech of the president. Because I'm sitting here trying to make out the meaning of what he's saying, and at the end of the day, I will get totally confused. So the issue here is, if I'm not the president, I would say cut down. When they removed fuel subsidy, the first day they did it, I came out and shouted, no. Be very careful in coming out of this subsidy. And the reason is because it will be unsustainable. There are certain things you ought to have done before contemplating removing subsidy. How can you be talking about palliative? Let me tell you the truth. Any subsidy you remove and you talk about palliative is a very wrong decision. Because subsidy removal is a palliative that is actually treating the condition. Palliative of sharing money is relieving the symptoms without dealing with the condition. But palliative and subsidy and no electricity tariff, they are treating the condition. So I will tell Mr. President, you ought not to remove this subsidy if you intend to share money to your ministers and to everybody. Restore this subsidy so that you will make sure that supply is there. Use all this money you're borrowing. Fix the refineries. They borrowed almost $18 billion in a year. Now, will that kind of a thing sustain the economy? Depreciated naira by 300%. Let me tell you, they are saying 70,000 minimum wage. 70,000 minimum wage at the cost of 1,600 naira is $44. 30,000 minimum wage, which he met at the price of 500 naira to the dollar, is $60. Which one is more? So this government has depreciated the standard of living of people, and what he should do is to ensure productivity, give incentives to productivity. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has every stated the problem they are going through. Frequent policy flip-flop, high interest rates, hyperinflation, astronomical energy costs, toxic environment to operate, multiple charges. You don't have these things and you want productivity? No, that is hypocrisy.
Mr. Kuso, do you think that the cost of governance, belong to this party, is the cost of governance astronomically high in your view?
It is high.
Okay.
I will be sincere, it is high. Because as you said, the number of ministers is something. It's not all about praise always. There are sometimes we need to face the reality. And my take on this is the president, is trying his best to cut down the cost of governance. He's somebody that listens very well, but at this point in time, he has time to think about cutting down governance, and he has time to think about the protest.
In what ways do you think we should cut down governance right now?
The best way to cut down governance is, as he earlier said, cut down the numbers of ministers at this point in time. Once you cut down the number of ministers, you get to where you are going to. That's the cut of governance. So also you can see, he said there shouldn't be any foreign trip for any government official for now. It's also the cutting down of cost of governance. So what I want from the people is, it's not easy to build a structure. Removing subsidy comes with a lot of norms. In Nigeria today, we've been enjoying subsidy for a very long time. But before he came on board, we can see there were a lot of agitations that Mr. President, subsidy have to go. We've been living a fake life and we have to come back to reality. So if the government is complaining of the amount of money is given to few individuals at the interest of 400 and something million Nigerians, so we felt taking off subsidy is the best thing to do. But the time he cut off subsidy, he said it before campaign, that subsidy have to go. So that Mr. President has been so realistic. He's all before even he emerges that subsidy has been a cause than a blessing to Nigeria.
So you do admit that there is hardship in the country?
There's hardship. It's biting everywhere.
Okay, so is it possible that your earlier position, when you said the protest was a plan to do a change of government, is it possible that you may have been a little wrong there?
I'm not wrong. What I said is there are better ways of dialogue than protest. Protest, when you know the beginning of the protest, you don't know the end of the protest. And unfair in the initial point that we're against protest is what is happening now. Criminal elements will take advantage of this and not. What does government facility have to do with the hardship? You go to government facility, you vandalize it, you remove socket, you remove the roof. What does that do with the hardship?
What do you think about the concerns that the security agencies have consistently expressed about this protest?
The president said he's prepared to protect the fundamental rights of Nigerians, and he accepted that protest is one of them. Rather than marshalling out the security forces to protect the protesters, they are sponsoring protest against protesters. What an irony. You say you don't want protest, and your own protest commenced before the protesters' own, and you don't want protest. You see, somebody that has gotten so used to protest that is the father of protest will even protest against protesters.
But he said that he protested, but he's not violent. A peaceful protest. You can see the kind of violent protest and looting private property.
First of all, I want to disagree respectfully with my colleague that the people that are sponsoring this protest are among us. I know of a senior colleague, Olu Adezoro Wasan. He wrote a letter to the president, owning up to, I am the lawyer to these people, take it back movement. It's not above us. The senior advocate of Nigeria.
There is not a protest.
I know of the lawyer. I'm coming. I know of one young child, brilliant, Damilere Adenola. He's the director of mobilization of the Take It Back movement. He has been interviewed. As a matter of fact, when Adenola was say stop, he said sorry. I don't know what he's talking about. I know of Femi Aburishade, who said he will never be a slave in his country, protesting. I know of a Showore who even went further to say revolution now, and he's standing by his word. I know of the children of Nigeria, whom the president has acknowledged that they are desiring a better and more progressive country. They are protesting. Protest is secured in our constitution. I know of a Wole Soyinka that has disagreed with this government on how they tackle protesters. These protesters warned, if you kill one of our own, we are going to change it. From end bad governance to Tinubu must go. You have to be sentimentally attached to the energy exhibited by these children. You have to respect them. When I was in university, I protested from first year to this final year, and I paid the price for it. I graduated by November of 1989 rather than June. And we went for the second batch of NYSC. I called on one occasion, we did not eat in the morning, especially when I entered the university first, following them, doing the strategy, and then died, on the road. During June 12th, I didn't know that. I was on the Benin Bridge.
Did you vandalize any property?
No, I did not, because I had enough. Vandalism is a criminal offense. Once you get to that level, you've crossed the mark, and the full work of law should be dealt with you, because you are a thief, you are not a protester. Protest, like I always say, is the antithesis to the thesis that brings synthesis. Protest is necessary in a democracy to ensure that the leaders are put on their toes. And you must make sure that you are seeking for a change that is definable.
He suggests that there should be questions for governors as well. You subscribe to that?
When a man who is a president knows that there are questions about governor, why give them the money?
The law requires they do that.
No, the law is talking about allocation. It is the duty of the House of Assembly. But all those subsidies that is given to the governors, why?
What could have been done with it?
When you give governors their partisan, You don't expect a governor of PDP to remember LP where I belong as a member of the party when they are sharing it.
But once you don't expect APC, once you're in that office,
Yes.
as a governor,
Yes,
your party ceases.
I agree. They are talking about what it ought to be, not what it is. And that is why the leader should factor in what it is, not what it ought to be. So, if we were in that paradise, we would be talking about rigging election. If we were in that paradise, we would be where we are today, that a nation that is producing oil, the sixth largest producer of oil, is refining 100% of its oil outside Nigeria.
Well, we've got past that now. We are now where the question is, where is the money?
No, the money has been blown, has been stolen. It is not me. It is Senator Ndume that said this government is government of kakistocrats and kleptocrats, meaning government by the worst set of us and compulsive thieves. So these thieves have stolen the money.
Dr. Kuso, in places
They
like
should be in jail.
Kaduna, Kano, Bauchi, you're from the north.
I'm from Nigeria.
You know this dynamic. When you saw those hoodlums and looters, what came to your mind as someone who is from the north, who's a member of this ruling party? When you're looking at that number of young men, we call them looters and hoodlums, but they're Nigerians. Many of them are.
Majority of them are not.
Many of them are.
Majority of them are not.
But they are in this country.
Yeah.
They have a governor in the states where they reside. What came to your mind about what these governors have done to their states?
You see, we have three tiers of government: federal, state, and local. Mr. President, constitutionally, as part of what was saved from subsidy, give it to your governors. Go and talk to your people. Go and develop your state. Most of this money that are given to them, if not the minister of raised it, nobody knew such amount of money went to them. They thought they never expect a protest, they will be hit with this kind of protest.
Some of them were actually published. The amount of money the governors were given.
But nobody knew until most people don't know. That's why I say most of people are uninformed. Most people don't look at newspapers, okay, what is happening today? But the moment this process was on, and the Minister of Information went to break it and said 570 billion was given to the governor of Bomb, they will say, okay, where is the money? What have they done with it? Mr. President have done his own. And as my colleague said here is, as you said, it is a constitutional right that he must give him that money. What did they do with the money?
So, if the question is, what have they done with the money? Now, the president, they're the ruling party. They have a lot of members of the APC as governors. You don't have meetings among yourselves saying, listen, we're giving you this money, so go and tell the people what you've done with it. Can that happen?
If you look at it yesterday, when the issue of how much the contract came up, the governor of Zamfara made a press conference that he collected 49 billion naira. He told his people. And if you go to Zamfara, you see where he's spending the money.
Has any APC governor said anything? He is in PDP.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the party? So wait. Does that mean that it is the APC governors who are frustrating this plan with the president?
How many governors have come to speak? It's not about APC or PDP. No, it's all about the governors. Look at Zulu. Anything that comes in will say, okay, we are giving 20 truck of rice to share, and I've shared, everyone have seen it. So it's not about PDP or APC. No, but it's all about their mindset. If you're all about the government person.
If the question is coming from you, I think we've heard the president also say the same thing, that the governors have got to fulfill certain things. So as a ruling party, shouldn't they lead by example, and say, this is how much we have, this is what we're doing with it? Those kind of examples.
You see, Nigerians today shift all the blame to Mr. President because of what? He removed subsidy. Of course, they have taken off subsidy. But who are the major benefactors of the subsidy removal? The government, because the money went to them. So it's not all about APC, PDP, it's all about mindset. But go to my state, for instance. You can see the government working.
What state?
Not just state.
Niger.
If you go to, when he came on board, he brought all about New Niger. He has been working. Since he came on board, contractors have been on site. So you've seen that for yourself.
I want to give you perspective. We're seeing a lot of, in places where you say the government is working, they build flyovers, bridges, roads. Human capital development is where the issue is for many people who are looking at the situation of this country, especially in northern Nigeria. what kind of human capital development have your governments in the north done? Let's say in the past 1 year.
Most of them encourage people to go to farm. We are blessed with abundant farms. Go to farm. We can feed the nation. Go to KB State and go to the state in the morning. You see small boys going to the farm farming. It's because they are getting the support from the government. Also, there are some youths that want to go quick money. All they have to is, let's share the money, bring the money, let's share it. So in the north, we are blessed with abundant lands to venture into agriculture. 5 states from the north can feed the nation. But are the youths willing to go to the farm? Or they also want to occupy political offices? And that is what they do to them. The government will appoint 500 SAs, 600 SAs, paying them a huge amount of salaries. Then the youth will start to okay, now I'm contented. If you start talking to the government and not doing the right thing, they will say, why are you blasting my principle? So I believe at this point in time, we need to go back to drawing board. Let's keep party differences. Let's come with ideas. Mr. President said, can I let it happen to dialogue?
Can your party actually say, let's keep party differences?
The minimum as well with Tinubu is.
What do you think about way forward and what to do?
You know, the president made that speech and he did not say anything about security. It is not fertilizer or lack of food that is preventing food from coming out from the north. It is security. Because we have been feeding ourselves without fertilizer. We have more than 923,000 square kilometers of arable land. He did not tell you that in Niger State, in some local governments, people pay taxes now and levies to terrorists. Maybe she did not say that. If it is fertilizer, I mean, that's the only thing. But it's all that in local government, we have only 2 local governments that were under the control of bandits before this government came up. And when the governor came up, the governor tried his best. Go to Niger today. People have gone back to their homes. The issue of insecurity is improved. I will forgive him for interrupting. But what I'm saying is that 5 states in northern Nigeria can feed Africa. Ukraine is fighting a superpower nation. Yet it has surplus to share grains to African countries, including Nigeria. Unfortunately, what the government should do, security and welfare of the people, they are the primary responsibility of government. Saying that it is foreigners that are protesting is actually indicting yourself. Why don't you go and pick the foreigners and deport them? What evidence does he have? You have immigration people that take salaries every day, and you're saying it's foreigners.
Okay, let's run down.
As my brother said here, he said vandalism is something else. And what is that vandalism? It is the protest. And that's why I say at this point in time, at this material time, there is no cause for protest. Come for dialogue.
No, but because you say that there are two. There are 2 things. People have a right to protest.
It's a constitutional
But if anybody goes in the guise of protesting and you loot, you vandalize, you will be arrested because that's a criminal offense. So he says the authorities should be able to draw the line and not in the guise of trying to stop vandalism, say protest is illegal.
Shouldn't happen.
That's why I said, most of the people are protesting, as you said. They are people that doesn't know what they are even protesting for. Most of the old small boys, they just came out to protest, to join numbers. They don't know why they are protesting.
They just come out of what they
are mobilized.
Is that usually happens?
That's what happens when you start public being mobilized.
I'm not talking about protest. I'm talking about both politically and otherwise. Is that like a general scenario?
Politicians that lost election, politicians that work for the government and not compulsory, they can mobilize just to bring the government back.
Or so even within the party,
of course, there are people that feel that they say, okay, let's take all, let's show our grievances from the idea to mobilize against the government. There are people, as Fintri said yesterday, everyone said yesterday, that protesters are those that we should do this are those that are aggrieved. I can agree with you. There are people that can feel there are ways you show your grievances. If I'm not being compensated, okay, let me use this opportunity of protest to hit the government. That's why we said, a great protesters, you don't differentiate from the genuine protester.
No, but you should.
How
did what? The president protested.
That's what it's for. Like Chamberlain said, and I need to hear that clearly. You cannot, because of the fear of being hijacked, of the protest being hijacked, then say people cannot exercise their right to protest. You can't do that. The job of security is to think outside the box. Protest management. So that protest management is the conversation right now, because this was exactly what happened.
But we've seen what the protesters were doing. The protesters were throwing stones on them, but they didn't intervene because they felt that it's their right to protest.
So, quickly from both of you, before we go, in less than 30 seconds, what would you want to see happen moving forward?
I just want to advise restraining using the word to warn. When protests happened in Kenya, Ruto
ende ba ngwadalo nlenne no umigbo kono si were so ila ide ya na Eastern News 24 una nugo ni ihe ya bụ gbakarịta ụka nke interview na kpeno n'oyibo emere nwanne nwoke bụ Kenneth Okonkwo na iru akwụkwọ na Channels TV ka ifi were ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile ụkụwagasị dị iche iche ka ifi were ikwu n'ụdị nke gị maka ekwere unu nkwana gị na-enye unu update bụ ihe na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya and nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ so biko unu tụsa ya bụ ozi ka ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ wee ghọtakwa ife na-emenụ maka anyị ga na-ewetara unu daily update n'iru akwụkwọ ọ gwara ka ọha m n'ọnụ darụlụ ine na Igbo ma na-ege ntị ka emesịa na ụmụ Igbo